Hi, ladies. I'm Karen Ray, the founder here at Fave Lifestyles, and we have recently launched a mission called hashtag Celebrating 1 Million Women. We have a book coming out called Being Brave and hashtag Celebrating 1 Million Women and Their Courage. Okay, I almost forgot the name of the book there for a second. And I am here with Christy. Christy, hello. How are you? And welcome. You are, I want to say congratulations because your story was chosen for the book. And it is just a delight to have you here today. So welcome.
Thank you so much. And Karen, I'm so honored. And wow, what an amazing group of women to be connected to in such a beautiful way. So thank you for giving this platform to so many of us.
Oh, you're welcome. And, it is an honor. I just was reading the stories because it's going into the layout and to the publisher. And boy, the stories just touch your heart. And I was reading your story too. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So ladies, just kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Christy and her story. And then we're going to talk a little bit the kind of the behind the scenes of what it's like to share your story and how just sharing your story is such a brave thing to do too. And we're going to talk a little bit with Christy too about courage and confidence. So, Christy, I'm just going to read your bio real quickly. So, Christy is the founder and owner of Cohesive Confidence, LLC, where she supports and encourages women to explore and create their cohesive identity through personal and professional discovery, as well as aligning their confidence inside and out. In her spare time, Christy enjoys attending live concerts and sporting events with her guys and networking with other women virtually and in her community. Christy recently relocated to the North Dallas area from New Braunfels, Texas, where she resides with her longtime love, Lance, and their son, Brooks. So you are down in Texas, and I bet the weather's a little different than here in the Pacific Northwest. So how is it going down there as you're relocating?
Yeah, so we are, let's see, 78 degrees and sunny, not a cloud in the sky today. Feels amazing to go outside and feel like fall. It's finally fall. We had a little teaser. So, Texas is funny. And, we say, if you don't like the weather, just wait a second and it'll change. And that's true. So, but, each space in Texas, each metroplex and urban area has their own weather, really. So New Braunfels, where I moved from, is close to the San Antonio, south of Austin. So it's central and south. That has a little bit more humidity and a little bit more of the heat. So yeah, so I'm excited to be in the Dallas area. Finally, it's been a road to get here, but being able to experience 4 seasons is going to be a sweet, sweet treat this year.
Oh, yes, yes. And you know what? This is so fun as we launch this mission is that we get to bring women together from across the U.S. and eventually globally, because we all have a brave story. And that's really what it's about. So we're going to be talking a little bit about your story, Beauty from the Ashes, which is a powerful narrative of profound loss transformed into resilience and self-discovery. After your sudden loss of your beloved 19-year-old son, you faced grief head on, confronted all these different challenges, and walked through a situation that was very difficult, but came out on the other side in this beautiful place. I mean, that's why the story is called Beauty from the Ashes. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that in the and how you got through that, what that has created for you today, and and what that really means. And you mentioned something earlier to me about how walking through that story has created confidence. And so that really intrigued me. I thought, we when we walk through difficult situations, we talk about the brave, the courage, the grief, all these different things. But how has it created confidence? I would love to hear more about that, Christy.
It's interesting when you're in the throes of grief and uncertainty, depression, just a to sum it up, is a mental health crisis.
Oh.
It is something we don't understand. It's overwhelming and confusion, and you don't know where to go to get to where you want to be. You certainly can't forget.
Okay, so we really need our little paddles right here, so the ladies can like raise their little paddle, go, I can relate to that. What you said, you don't know, you're in the throes of all of this and you don't know where to go or where you're headed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when, as a compassionate and empathetic society as a whole, especially women, we find that we want to help, and we want to, what do you need? Please let me know if I can help. And while those are beautiful, beautiful things that you want to embrace as comfort, that's also part of the chaos, because you don't know how to answer the question. And also concerns over the other people who are in this moment of grief and this space and time with you. My concern immediately following the loss, which I'll get to the confidence piece and I'll tie this all together.
Yeah.
I needed to explore some professional help, not only to understand my grief, but also to be aware of how my guys who were here, who were in the thick of it, how they were grieving, because we all grieve and experience and process grief differently. So I'm thankful for the resources that allowed me to explore all of those elements and how to navigate those things. And through that process, I had to allow myself to go from the bottom of the valley and sheer grit, hard-headedness, tenacity, determination, whatever you want to call it. I knew I had to climb back up the mountain, because if I stayed in the valley, there was no way for me to exist with authenticity. I knew it wasn't how I wanted to live. It wasn't who I was overall. It was a moment. And, having been raised in faith and having a firm foundation and such, I always knew that, situations are temporary and we have every opportunity to work with faith to get to the other side of it versus fighting it to stay in it. We're not obligated to stay in grief. We're not obligated to stay in depression. We have tools and resources to get through it.
So, Christy, I just want to congratulate you actually on recognizing that as in the midst of your story, what that was like, and to seek help and to challenge your own thinking of where you were at, and knowing that you didn't want to stay there.
Yeah.
That is.
But it also taught me to explore boundaries. I had to set them because I had none. And when you don't have boundaries, it's very easy to get caught up in trying to fill the needs of everyone else.
Okay. We didn't need to make a little note of that one. When you don't have boundaries.
When you don't have boundaries, you can get caught up in meeting the needs of everyone else.
Wow.
And when that happens, you risk losing yourself. Look, I'd already lost a 19-year-old and terrified that I was going to lose the other ones because we didn't know. There's no way to prepare how to navigate that grief.
Right. And there's no, you can go out and buy a manual or something.
No.
And
it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started reading, and one of the books that I picked up in early 2022 was The Gifts of Imperfection.
Oh.
And in that book, Brene Brown, and if I ever meet her, I I will get emotional about this. That book has literally become my reset button.
Oh.
It is in that book. She goes through, she's the queen of vulnerability and shame.
Yeah.
She's navigated those emotions for us so beautifully, so that we can recognize them. And that was one of the biggest takeaways of that reading experience, of that book, was to embrace my vulnerability. And it's funny, I attended a networking event before Thanksgiving this past year. And our introductions, we had to go around the room and name something that you're thankful for, but you cannot repeat something someone else has already said.
Yeah, that's challenging.
Yes. And I was toward the end. So those at the end of the line definitely had more time to think, but definitely had to dig a little deeper. So I've been digging deep at this point for over 2 years. We lost McKinnon in 2021, June of 2021. So here we are in November of 2023. And my answer was, I am thankful for the power of vulnerability. And through the exploration and application of that vulnerability, I found my confidence.
Wow.
I set my standards, I set my boundaries, and my purpose and intention around everything that I am committed to do became more and more purposeful. I don't
Wow.
second bit of it.
So would you say that that is your definition of vulnerability, or how did that show up for you? How were you vulnerable in your life at that time?
Well, our loss was really public. There was no hiding that this had happened. There was no hiding how this had happened. And it became a very intentional, I have to make this count for something moment. He lived, and we celebrate him because he lived. We remember him and talk about him and share memories of him because he lived. And with that, because he lived, he also died. And because he died, and the way that he died, my vulnerability became my superpower when I started talking about it and stopped hiding it. Because the energy that it takes to hide something that hurts is exhausting. And I was out of energy. And I didn't have the power to withhold the vulnerability anymore. It's like when the dam breaks, it breaks.
Yeah. And then you can either step out there without confidence, or you can step out there with confidence.
I had to get competent with grief to embrace my confidence.
Yeah.
Mel Robbins,
Wow.
also a huge part of my inspiration and guidance. She defines confidence as it is not a feeling. We don't get to feel confident. It is an action. We get to be confident. And the way that we become confident and act in confidence is when we become competent.
Oh, isn't that just great? Oh my goodness. So don't you think a lot of women feel that confidence is a feeling?
They do. Absolutely. And so I will tell you, the resource to hear her argument on this is on her podcast. It is number 46.
Okay. All right, girls, we have some great resources here. Yes, I love that, to be competent. And that's, I think education is power.
It
And
is.
it's not just education skills, it's education about us. And I know that you work with women, that's what you do, is helping them do those action to be competent in confidence.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's
How powerful is
it
that?
was the beauty of and the organic path to finding my business and the name of my business. I didn't sit down and look up these words in a thesaurus, or I didn't use Chat GPT to get to the other side of it. It was that same networking group. The lady who was leading it challenged us in another event, in another meeting, to introduce ourselves, our name, and what we do, but not use our company name or our job title. And at
Okay.
that time, I had 4 different hats that I was wearing at 4 different companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was struggling on how to introduce myself to people when they say, "What do you do?"
Oh.
Which one
And
do I
so
start with?
so what do you say today?
Today, and my answer that day is the same as it is today. I help others identify and tap into their cohesive confidence.
Oh.
And when I define cohesive confidence, it is getting real with your personal self identity and the identity of your business and aligning them so that when people see you, they see your business and vice versa. Because ultimately, we want to build trust with the relationships that we encounter and create, the ones that
Mm-hmm.
are drawn to us, and the way that we connect with our community. It has to be cohesive for it to be taken seriously.
Yeah. And it, oh, wow. And to come into that and to walk into that as an action. Oh, my goodness. So, I mean, we all have these stories where, they're different players or different circumstances, but we really have to tap into these, like you said, grit and resilience. And then you see yourself grow and look at where you are today, the beauty, and that you can use the story to help other women walk into that cohesive confidence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's,
mean, I saw my
yeah.
mom, and the beautiful side is, and what prompted my move to Dallas was my mom had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and I got to spend a lot of time with her. Excuse me, at the end of her life.
Mm,
She passed July
yes.
11th. So I got 6 months with her here
Yes.
and in the Dallas area. Um, but looking back to the examples of women who have walked the walk and talked the talk, um, beauty from ashes. The beginning of my life as her daughter was not easy. And to see the way that she was loved and remembered by so many people, and I'm sorry, I didn't intend to get
No,
emotional.
it's okay. Yes, we're sending you lots of love.
Vulnerability in action right here. Um,
It is.
but
I know.
it led me to really lean into the things that matter and
Mhm.
reiterated and supported the fact that my mother, all 4'11" of my mother, was so tenacious in making things happen. And I come by it honest. Um, I was taught the good lessons that we'll go forward.
Yeah.
So I get to honor her when I help other women.
Yes. And Christy, I love what you said. Thank you for sharing about your mother. I know it's so recent and so heartfelt and, so much love there. But leaning into what matters and tapping
Yeah,
into some of her tenacity. And sounds like she was just a wonderful woman. And just to be able to take that beauty, again, beauty from the ashes, and take that and create something beautiful and to share that, I'm holding it here in my hand, to share that with other women is really, really, oh my goodness, it's just such a beautiful thing. And so thank you so much for sharing about your mom too. And yes, so as we are coming to the end of our conversation today, what would you like to say to the women? How would you like to encourage them to maybe share, maybe something that their brave story and what they might experience when they do?
Ooh, I one of the biggest things that I did for myself was recognize, and especially still going back to the gifts of imperfection and vulnerability and shame. Creating shame from not being able to satisfy the expectations of others when they expect you to process, grieve, and move forward in a certain way. And you cannot do that yourself because you are not them. Discernment will be your best friend.
Mm.
Letting go of the expectations of others and stepping away from apologizing for not being who they think you should be, and embrace being yourself. But in order for you to do that, you have to be willing to answer the questions of who.
Of who?
Who you are.
Oh.
Who are you? What drives you? What do you need permission for? What do you need to be thankful for in your past that you need to be thankful for so you can move forward? Because staying connected and claiming the identity of someone who is in grief, in loss, in depression, which all of these things are valid. I'm treated for them still. But they do not define me. They are not my identity. They are a tool that I use to move myself forward so that I can help others do the same.
Wow.
So embrace your uniqueness. Don't wait for someone else to define that for you.
Okay, so many lessons. Thank you, first of all, from sharing from your heart and all these little golden nuggets of wisdom. Ladies, I hope that you heard some of these. And if there's just one that touched your heart, let us know, something that you can put into your life today to maybe walk through a situation that you're walking through. But as women, if we could just, like you said, just ask ourselves some of those questions and stop trying to be somebody who's just trying to meet the expectations of whether it's society or other people. I don't know if anybody else, I relate.
Yeah, I do too. I have to remind myself regularly.
Yes, because there's all these, this is how we should run a business. This is how we should be as moms. This is, whatever, all the should be's. But thank you for encouraging us to tap into that, to ask ourselves those questions. And ladies, here's the thing too, you are not alone. You don't have to even try to do it on your own. There's women like Christy. There's other women in our community. Maybe there's a story that you relate to that you can reach out to these women. We are here for you and happy to connect and direct you to somebody who can walk the walk with you or, help guide you through it. We've got these lovely, lovely coaches that can help you tap into your uniqueness and walk in that in confidence. So Christy, just again, oh, you touched our hearts today. And thank you for being so vulnerable with us and opening your heart to us and sharing your story. It is an honor. And there's so much beauty that has come out of this, and especially with you just coming in here and sharing with us. So I just want to thank you for coming and being a guest today.
Thank you so much, Karen. I'm so touched. And I'm going to do my best to be with you guys early December.
Awesome. So, ladies, we are having our book launch December 7th of 2024. And it is just going to be a time to honor the women, the 29 ladies who have written their stories. And it is just going to be a joy. And the book will be coming out at that time as well. And so, ladies, but I also want to let you know you can still write your brave story to inspire other women. And you can go to our favelifestyles.app site and submit a story. And it's all by interview style. So we try to make it as easy as possible to take you through your story. And really, the beauty of the stories is tapping into what brave means for you. And I've noticed too that women, as they are writing their stories, they change their mind about what brave means to them. And so, Christy, as we end here, tell us, what does brave mean to you today?
Brave is embracing your authentic self and being able to move forward with that vulnerability as your guide, but not your destination.
Oh, okay. That is fabulous. All right, ladies, thank you again, Christy, and thank you, ladies, for joining us. And we'll see you next time behind the scenes. Bye now.
Bye.